Welcome to our Two Posh podcast. I'm Gabrielle. I'm here with my co-host, my daughter Marcella.
Hello.
And our other co-host, our buddy Bernie.
What's going on?
And our DJ Spider.
Back in the game, baby.
And Bernie's girlfriend, Stacy, is joining us.
Hey.
And my husband is back for his second hour.
Awesome.
So I wanted to continue with where we left off, but I was really big on Patrick not meeting the kids.
Yeah.
So we were together for a year because I've always felt like kids get so torn and they get close to people, and then if you don't make it and you break up, then that affects them. So now they're going through divorce and whatever, and then they go through the partners too. So I just wanted to save them from more stress, more heartache.
So you had full-blown hard 12 months?
I mean, literally. It was a year.
Oh, yeah.
And
she wouldn't call me for 6 months.
Oh.
She would not call my phone. Would
Really?
not. Nope.
She barely still calls us.
She said, I don't call guys. She literally would say, I don't call guys. If you, like, I'd call her and she'd be like, or she'd call me up and say, hey, I'm really busy. Just call me back in like an hour. Or I'd call her and she'd say, I'm really busy, or I'm really busy. Just call me back in an hour. And she'd say, I don't call guys. If you want to talk to me, call me back.
She said that on the show multiple times.
Yes.
She said, I do not call guys.
Wow.
She's still like that.
I mean, not so bad this time, but
So funny.
Just happened 2 days ago.
I heard about it actually in the car.
I'm like,
Does that get frustrating sometimes?
well,
He's used to it.
I'm used to it, but it's like, you know, it's never done on purpose. It's like I'm really, really busy, and literally sometimes I look up and it's 5 o'clock. Like I don't even know what happened. Like I'm
I believe that.
when I get in my work zone, and she knows this, and she hates it about me because that's how I am. When I get on something, I'm gonna do it until it's done, and I'm gonna stay on it. If it takes me till 3 o'clock in the morning, I have to finish this task I started.
Yeah.
And I don't care what time it is. So sometimes I just completely lose track of time. I mean, it's never intentional. I'm like, I'm going to fuck her up today and not text her. I'll watch her lose her shit at 3 because I don't want to deal with it. Even when I came home, I'm like, you got to stop being so grumpy. I was busy. It's not like I'm out chasing whores around the city.
oh my God.
I'm working.
But I really was talking about what a great stepdad he is.
So 12 months
Oh, sorry.
into
Forget all that. Forget all that.
So 12 months into
I
it.
text her every day, all day.
That's so
He does
funny.
text me every single day by one, like no, literally. But anyways, he was such a supportive stepdad, and he looked at them as his own children. Like he himself never wanted any more like that. And that's, I think, how I can explain it the best way, how he felt about them. And Jolie, of course, is the best addition to our family that we could have ever asked for. So, but how he treated them was just incredible. And especially when Marcella was going through her fun time that, you know.
Fun time.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. The King of Dallas fun times.
I mean, this
It was before
that. She had.
That's right. Didn't you in high school have a party while y'all were out of town? And you found
She
out
did that too.
that was one of
Do you
the.
remember
That was before it got really bad. Like I was just always, I wanted to have fun, I guess. So everybody would come over. But I think that was even before he moved in. Like I think I was still in high school.
Yeah, I wasn't moved in
No. I think the time that they're referring to is when I turned 18.
Yes, and when
Do
she had
tell.
a boyfriend that was a drug dealer, abusive, meth. I mean,
Oh.
his dad was in prison for killing someone. His mom was a meth addict on top of it. I mean, here's this girl that lived in this white mansion with her pink marble bathroom, basically, and now she is sneaking out of the house,
To go to a crack house, literally.
literally.
Wow.
And
What was going on with you at the time?
It was more, I wasn't doing anything at the time. It was more just him. He was extremely abusive.
Oh.
And I think,
So let's hang around them.
yeah.
That's my
and
question.
when
Is like,
you're-
what's going on with you? At
I
that
don't
time?
know. You're 18 and you don't really. I think that Patrick's favorite story is that I blew out my candles on my 18th birthday and I said, what'd I say? Like I can do
She's
whatever.
like, I'm finally 18. I don't have to listen to you guys anymore. I do whatever I want. And I just looked at her. I said, that ain't how it works.
That's
I
so
think
funny.
you're kind of good for so long. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to. Like,
She
go
literally thought
wild.
at 18 on her birthday was no more rules for Marcella.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
That's how
And-
she came home.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think that this guy was, I mean, granted, when we first got together, I didn't know he was a drug dealer. And I didn't know, I mean, it wasn't like I thought that was attractive. It just, he was very verbally abusive and manipulative. And I was 18 and wanted to be on my own and thought I was an adult and stupid. So that is really how that happened.
As that adulting working for you right now. It's overrated, right?
Oh, I mean, I actually don't.
kidding.
I
I'm
prefer
kidding. I'm
this
kidding.
rather than high school. I hated high school. That was not my peak time. I was fat.
That's so
I
funny.
was,
You were fat?
yes, I was heavier.
Fluffy.
So it's
I
funny.
love
It's funny you talk about that because I saw pictures. I went to Stacey's photo album the other day, and it's funny. Like she didn't blossom till college. Like
I
college,
was
she got
not-
hot in college. I was like, I felt. I'm verbally saying, "Oh my god, I feel so bad for you." Like her mom did this haircut on her that and I think we'll all look back when we're
Yeah.
when we have our kids, or our kids will look back when they're older and be like, "What the fuck, mom, dad?"
See,
like
my
about
mom
her
did
hairstyles.
great on me. It was when I did myself.
Her mom did. Sorry, Susan, if you're listening. Her mom did horrible on her. She had this one haircut, and it's usually it's usually like there's something to like a mullet in that age group or whatnot. But her mom did this. Her mom did this thing where it was just like cut straight across like this line. It made no. It was like someone was drunk. It was like and cut it. And, like it was. I felt so. I still feel bad for you right now at your
Oh my
age. For that. It was horrible.
Traumatized
Her face was super cute at me, but she didn't get hot
awful.
till she was in college.
Well, I think that I was bigger. I don't know. High school was not my time. So I think, I don't know.
I mean, it was just, try and grow up, I guess, and coming across the wrong person. I think that always has a lot to do with too. I mean, she could have come across someone that was a nice guy.
Yeah, it just happened to be
a troubled guy, and
Patrick took a lot of that.
to connect the dots with that whole
So
thing
good.
there's a connecting with the dots with Peter, who was freaking out, threatening to kill us, all this kind of
Are
stuff.
you guys cool? You and Peter cool
Not
at this point?
cool at
No,
this point.
this is what got us cool.
So this
The meth
boyfriend
Crazy.
kidnapped her, like literally.
Yeah, kidnapped me.
Wait, go back and
Was that
tell a
the
little bit of that
when you
story.
were in Waco or whatever?
That was
Yeah.
when he took me to Corsicana. So if you want to hear about that in detail, episode 14, I do talk about this relationship and when I did get kidnapped because I was breaking up with him or trying to leave, and he stuffed me in my car, at the bottom of my car, on the
The trunk?
Passenger
like
side.
the floorboard of the passenger side, and was it was just really bad. But anyways, I got kidnapped and I called them somehow or something.
But he took her phone, so
Yeah.
it was like, "Mom, he's taking me," or
Yeah.
something. It was very scary. I had
Very
to call
scary.
the police.
He got arrested. It was a
We had
nightmare.
how many cop cars? Like 6 or something. Insane.
Did you ever think he was going to kill you?
Yeah. Well, he was my very physically abusive boyfriend.
She
And
would
Andy
say-
was
Like,
terrible.
like
Yeah. Pull my hair, drag me across the room. It was just really bad.
How long
Broke
were you
my
guys together?
phone. A year and a half.
Yeah.
2 years, maybe.
So you
But
guys
she calls and she's like, "He's taking me," and we're trying to figure out where.
did y'all
and
hate
she-
him already?
Oh,
Hey.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Oh, he'd been stealing checks from my check. This is back when checks were popular.
Shit.
He was stealing checks out of my checkbook and buying himself all kinds of shit. That was back when you get your checks back in the mail. The return checks would come back in the mail, and I get these checks. And I'm like, what is this shit? And then I figured out this motherfucker's stealing my checks and forging my signature. And he's buying furniture and shit for his house.
I don't think I even knew that.
Holy shit.
I had a whole file on this kid for the police, and they actually did nothing.
We knew he had drugs in his car, where he was going, where he was selling them. We knew everything. We went to the police station, told them.
Yeah, we had
He had,
meetings with detectives
He had
about this kid.
14 warrants out for his arrest.
Did you guys ever confront him? Did you confront him and say, what the fuck?
He never would come around the house once I found out he was stealing shit. I would tell Gabrielle, if he comes over, I'm going to fucking beat his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't
Understandably.
allowed. And I think, so then I'm assuming you called my dad.
No,
That's
I
what it's
did.
called.
Oh.
Then when that was going on, when he was kidnapping her, that's when I called Peter and I said, "Hey, you and I have our thing. I know you don't like me and I don't like you, but your youngest son Gino's still here, and at the time Gino was probably
Well,
8.
18,
if you were 18,
11.
so it was 7 years younger.
And
11 or 12.
And Jolie was an infant. She was still she was a baby. She was an infant. So I called him, and I knew this kid had, he lived near us, and I know he had friends in the neighborhood and all these. I didn't know what to expect. So I was like, if this kid finds out I'm coming after him, I don't want him coming to my house. So I called Peter, and I said, I need you to come over to my house. We need to put our shit on the shelf for right now. I need to come over to my house, and I need you to just stay here and make sure your son and my baby is fine. I'm going to get this motherfucker. Because I knew where he was headed. I knew he was heading to his grandmother's house in Corsicana.
At first, we didn't know that. She thought he was taking her to Oklahoma.
Well, I called the police department. This was back when the show
That is
CSI
so
was very
insane.
popular.
Yeah.
And I called the police department, the Euless Police Department. I said, hey, I see on TV you guys can triangulate a cell phone. Can you guys really do that? He said, yes. I said, I need you to triangulate. My daughter's, I think, being kidnapped. Her cell phone is on. Can you triangulate it and tell me where it's heading? And they said it's heading south on 35. And I said, he's heading to fucking his grandma's house in Corsicana.
Dude, that's crazy.
That's how I found out where he was heading. So I called Peter. Right after that call, I called Peter, had him come to my house. He showed up with a shotgun. We looked each other dead in the eye in the house, right at the front door. And I just said, we can have our discussion later. I appreciate you coming over here. I got to get in this car. This kid's got your daughter, and I'm going to get him right now. I know where they're headed, and I'm going to get them. So I just got my car and did like 100 down 35 until I caught up with them at a gas station. The police had already caught him and arrested him. There's like 6 cop cars all around.
So how did the police get? So you're keeping in contact? Is this when you had the I guess what kind of
I'm
cell
just
phone?
flying to Corsicana. I'm just flying down to Corsicana. But by the time I got there, they had already
called
had him.
us
So
that
she
they
had her
had him.
phone back, and he wasn't able to knock it out of her hand or anything. So she was like, hey, I'm at this gas station. So I was able to kind of get to
they
her.
arrested him at his grandmother's house, and I was like hiding like behind like a shelf. It was the scariest
That sounds scary.
That
moment.
was very scary.
And then him getting arrested really scared me.
Did he say anything while he was getting arrested?
No, and that's what terrified me because I thought he was gonna like kill me like after that, because you know that somebody's gonna get arrested and they're gonna get out. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't for forever. And I think I remember being terrified. And then they took me to a gas station, and then I got in the car with Patrick, and that's all I really remember.
So
It's
what
very
happens
foggy.
there? You guys get in the car together.
We got in the car, and I was just like, are you okay? Are you safe? You're safe now, but are you okay? And she was just kind of scared. And I don't remember we talking much on the
I
way
don't
back.
either. I
We
don't
didn't talk
remember
much. I
anything.
was so fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I wanted to catch this kid. I didn't want the police to catch him. I wanted to catch him.
Shit.
So we drove all the way back, and when I got home, I'm thinking, oh fuck, I got to deal with Peter. Now I got, I'm
That's
amped.
what I would think the same thing.
My adrenaline's like roaring, like I'm ready to kill this kid. Now I gotta go home, and this guy wants to kill me. So I'm like, fuck, here we go. So basically, when I walked in, he was still there, and I think like old school. He was Sicilian, like he was just old school Italian. And I think when he saw that I cared about his kids too, I think a lot of his demeanor changed towards me. So when I spoke with him, I said, I know that's kind of a fucked up situation. I said, but this is how I view it. Like these are your kids. I'll never be their father. These are your kids. But you have to spend time with your kids. You have to come over to my house every weekend and spend some time with your son and your daughter. Now, at the time, he had already been wiped out by the government.
So now you guys have full custody.
Yes.
We didn't ever do that. Like it was.
He
Yeah,
just
they
let them
never-
stay with
Yeah.
us.
We went back to like civil. At least like with the kids, there was no issues.
Yeah. So what-
there was never like a court.
No, nothing was
that was in
ordered.
place.
Yeah.
He just wasn't capable. He had been arrested again, and the government literally wiped him out. They took everything. He still, when he finally, when he passed away, he owed them like $480,000 in restitution still.
Wow.
Yeah, they actually came to my house one time.
They called me too.
Yeah.
hmm
They actually came to my house one day. American Express came and served me papers for a credit card. He'd run up to like $80,000 and never paid it. So like he was destitute.
Why were they serving you for that?
Because her and I were now married, and he had forged her signature on the credit card. It wasn't even in his name.
Yeah.
They came after her, but he forged her signature to get the card.
Wow.
It's a disaster.
It's a disaster.
What did they come after you for?
I think that when he had passed away, they were. I remember them calling. I don't even know who called me, but basically, like somebody needed to take care of the stuff that he had left
he owed
open.
everybody. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm like 25. I can't do that for you. Like that was my dad's stuff, and it just had rubbed me the wrong way, anyways, because they had called it expired, and I remember that being a very odd term, and I was like, I don't even want to have this
To
conversation
hear about your dad. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
Wow.
weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but
then that's when I made him. He literally became a big part of our family. I mean,
that was a good time though, because he would come over and cook, and everybody was getting along. So it was
Yeah.
like I had my dad
from
there,
that
and-
point
yeah.
forward, we never had anything bad happen with our family with him ever.
No, yeah,
Wow, that's cool.
yeah. So that was
So that
the
goes
best
back
part.
to
Mm-hmm.
like how good you guys are doing. And we had another guest on how you handle the exes with
Yeah.
children.
Well,
Yep.
I think one of the key takeaways is that our exes weren't in the mafia and crime family, and but we're doing pretty good at considering that.
I mean, I really think he loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
because
That's
Well,
really
he
funny.
loved Jolie. He loved little.
I mean,
kids.
Jolie was like she became like his granddaughter. I mean,
Yeah.
he just was.
spoiled her.
He would
Yeah.
come over our house every Sunday and bring her something like a little
Always.
stuff. I mean, the guy had zero money. Everything he did was under the table because everything he would deposit, they'd take.
Yeah,
So he was literally working $10 an hour jobs, $8 an hour just for cash with friends, and nothing was in his name. No apartment, no car. Everyone was letting him just borrow shit. I mean, he couldn't have anything in his name. So he was destitute at the end there. So when we brought him into our house, it was kind of like he was rejuvenated a little bit. Like he kind of like was reborn. He was excited. I
He
mean,
loved to come cook.
he could never help us out financially with anything. So like all the holidays, I'd say, hey, Gabrielle always had a big party, big spread for all the holidays. So I'd say, hey, we're going to have 25 people for Thanksgiving. He'd say, you just tell me what you want to cook. Cause that was his thing. He's like, I can pay you in cooking. I mean, the guy was ridiculous what he could cook.
Yeah.
So he'd get there. I'd buy all the ingredients. He'd tell me like, I'm going to do a seafood spread and I'm going to do this spread. And I go buy all the ingredients. He'd show up there at 7:00 in the morning. And by the time everybody got there, it'd be like, you're in a 5-star restaurant.
Oh shit.
That's really cool.
And he did it every holiday. Anytime I asked him to do anything like that, he was on it.
So you guys, so that's crazy. A tragedy with what she was going through turned you guys to be really
Yeah.
close friends, huh?
Yep.
Yeah,
He-
it really was.
I mean, we
crazy.
actually became friends. Like he would call me every single day. I'd talk to him every day. He'd just call me just to see what's going on. How's it going?
Oh shit, that's good.
Yeah. We became friends, from killing to friends.
That's so crazy. That is crazy. So how long did it take from initially when you guys got together to that incident where you and Peter finally became cool? How many years was that?
About 4.
4 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time to have shit.
But he was, I mean, it was calm in between. They just weren't friends.
It was
Like,
calm
I mean,
because I had taken over his responsibility financially for the kids because I knew he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was getting Marcella her car at 16. I was doing all the things that I knew the kids, like big moments in their lives. I was getting, we were doing the birthdays for him that I knew he couldn't do. So it was like I think he started backing off because I was treating his kids right. So the threats didn't happen for 4 years. They were
no,
they were
very short.
They're they were probably a year or less in that 4-year span, but we weren't cordial until after that incident.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And then after that, did it flow pretty easy?
Oh yeah, I mean
It did until the end. He kind of, I think, mentally wasn't okay. So he kind of started a whole new.
How long after that did he pass away?
When that started, maybe was 2 years,
Well, how long's he been?
like
6 years.
I think,
He passed away 6 years ago.
something like that. I don't know. I can't.
So
That's why I'm going to have to go back and
Yeah.
make sure I know this when we do
5
the
years
whole-
maybe.
It was very difficult at the end.
Oh, I can imagine.
And we
Because-
became so close that's how we figured out that something was wrong because we were on vacation and Marcella couldn't go for that trip and she was asking, have you guys heard from Dad today? And I'm like, she said no. And then she asked me, she said, have you heard from Peter? I'm like, no. And I was like, it's kind of weird because I'm telling you, every day he'd call me. So that's when I knew, we were on vacation. We weren't thinking much about it.
He had just kind of gone off, but I just wanted to talk more about. I wanted to talk about our relationship rules.
Yeah, I've always been. I've always had the conversation.
He
Like,
always
y'all are the
says,
minority for sure.
Yeah,
Like y'all are not the norm. You don't count. Whenever we try to start talking about relationship stuff,
But my thing is why are we not the norm? Because everybody seems to want what we have, but no one's willing to do what it takes. So when everyone says you guys aren't normal, Marcella says it too. You guys is it's not normal, but why isn't it? Why can't it be? You know, that would be the best of both worlds, right? The problem is it's hard finding a partner that is willing to put in the same amount of work or to be on the same page with these are the boundaries we have. It's the truth. It's just that's why it's 100% the truth. And I've always told Gabrielle the reason why I think it's so difficult for people is because let's face it, as you get older, you get more set in your ways. Yeah. And then when you start dating again, let's just say you get a divorce or whatever that may be. Now you're back out there and you're meeting people, but you have your way and they have their way and they've had it for so long. It's hard to flex. It's hard to give a little bit. So I always tell people, yeah, what we have is rare. I get it, but it shouldn't be rare because if you really care about somebody, it's like, for example, like if someone was beating up on Stacy right here in front of you, you would lose your shit and beat the fuck out of that guy. So that kind of care and that kind of feeling should go into every aspect of how you take care of your girl. Yeah. Because why would you beat the shit out of that guy? Because you care for her. So why wouldn't you do everything else also? Why wouldn't you care about her no matter if the guy's, if there's no guy at all, you should still have that same care. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's hard. It's not like every day I wake up and I'm like, this is the fucking greatest because everybody has, Gabrielle puts up a lot of my shit and I put up with some of her shit. It's just like, but there's that flex. Yeah. There's that give and take. And everyone's like, oh, we want.
Excuse me, what are you putting up with?
She's pretty perfect. She's pretty perfect.
I mean, let's face it, we're humans. No two brains are ever going to agree 100% on everything. It's impossible. So as long as you know going in that you're going to have these, and she used to hate it. When we used to fight in the beginning, she used to say, are you going to break up with me? I'm like,
oh, I didn't say break up with me.
But it'd be something dramatic. I guess.
Yes. It'd be like she'd be at the other opposite end of the spectrum from what I'm thinking. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, it's okay. We're disagreeing. It's okay. We're never going to agree 100% on everything. It's not going to happen. Yeah. But as long as you're willing to put in the time and work through that, which most people aren't, that's the problem. Yep. People give up so easy. Now I see people, and to me, a lot of it's just insecurities in themselves, I think, personally. But I just had made a commitment a long time ago that I'm not going to lie, I ran really hard for 28 years. I mean, I was out there. So I don't know if it's just experience and they've had enough, or if it's just, I just literally just got to the point in my life where I just want to just commit to something. And I got to the point where we're going to do whatever we have to do to make it work. And I've told her this 100 times. We joke about it now and people still joke. I'm only getting married one time. That's it. So if this doesn't work out, that's it. But I can't see it not working out because we understand now. But most people don't want to put that time in to learn who they're with or what they 100% are with and 100% against. It's just you just got to put the time in, and most people don't want to. They're just, this is how I've been doing it for this long, and I don't want to change a thing. And this guy is over here the same way, and before you know it, they're broken up because they just don't want to flex. Nobody wants to give anything because they're so used to their life. Yeah.
But I think it's agreeing with the certain rules that we have. Like our rules would maybe not work for you guys. It's like you.
So what are some of y'all's rules?
Have to.
And I am curious, when did the rules come into play? Right from the beginning or after you had been together for a while?
Pretty quick.
Right from the beginning, I think, because that is so important for a relationship.
Establish
I
your
believe
boundaries.
that. Yeah, you have to have the boundaries. And like and neither one of us is psycho. We're not like controlling. We're not we're not insecure. Like neither one of us, because I feel like it is because the rules. Yeah. We don't have to because we honor them, and we made those together. Like we don't go to clubs. Like if there's a birthday party, say, and a girls say it's just girls and they're having a birthday party, I would go to dinner at the restaurant, and if they go out to clubs or even bars, then I go home. he'll go to football games or whatever, and then if it gets crazy, he'll go home. Like it's kind of that. It's like the knowledge of this is not a good.
It's not a good potential for. There's just.
Right.
It's not a matter that you're going out planning it. It's stuff happens, right?
Exactly.
It's just it's
So
taking yourself out of the unnecessary situation.
exactly.
I think a lot of people get peer pressured into doing things that
Yes.
force a lot of pressure on a relationship. I mean, I remember saying, "Oh, you're pussy whipped," all this stuff when you're a kid. But to me, it's like, say I'm pussy whipped. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
When I go home, I don't have to fucking stress out about walking in my back door, worried about the fight we're about to have because she didn't hurt me for 4 hours and I'm fucking trashed. I don't want to deal with it. Like I'm at a point in my life where there's so much more bigger things going on that's not important to me. I did all that stuff. I did it when I was single, so I didn't have to deal with it then either. Yeah. So now it's like I'm in this relationship that I'm committed to, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a very secure person. That's the thing that freaks me out the most about in Dallas, how insecure people are. I'm like, God, what are you so insecure about? Like, if Gabrielle went out with her friends, I promise you, I would not worry 1 second. And she hates that about me because she's like, I want you to worry. I'm like,
No, I don't say that.
I don't worry. Like, she just wants me. I don't know if you think it's that I don't care. I just know that I'm very confident in our relationship. I trust you to know that you're not going to be tempted to do something that we know is wrong.
But the reason you're like that so much is because you guys set those rules, those boundaries, you've stuck to them. So all that equity has been built up,
agree.
right? So
Yes.
you're like, I already know what she's about. And the reason there's so much insecurity in Dallas and all over the place is because there's so many people who say, yes, I'm going to do this, and they don't do shit. The minute they get put in a situation, they're fucking it up, or they're accepting that friend request, or it's just little stupid shit. They're talking to someone through Messenger, or they're being peer pressured with their friends, and so that's what caused so much insecurity for people.
That is the insecurity. It's like, why are you letting your friends dictate your life? Because everyone, I can't tell you how many people have said, I want to sit down, and they'll say it like jokingly, but then they're serious, but they still never show up or deliver. They'll say, I really want to sit down with you and talk about how you make your relationship work. Because let's face it, none of us are getting any younger. Mm-mm. None of us want to be the old guy in the club. None of us want to be freaking 60 years old and single and lonely. Yeah. So everyone's always asking me, and I'm like, I'll tell you how to do it. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be easy. And all the people I have told it couldn't do it. So everybody wants what we have, but no one's willing to do what it takes to have what we have.
Because the first time the friend goes, let's go out, they break. Because that's what they're used to. So it's hard for them to start something new and really be devoted to their significant other.
I mean, in my business I traveled for 8 years. I'd be out of the state for 8 to 9 months out of every year.
We did long distance like that.
And there'd be times where I wouldn't be home for 3 weeks. And every time I worked in Denver for 9 months one year, I'd fly home every Friday and fly back out every Monday morning. The whole time I was in Denver, I never had one beer. I'd go home and maybe have a beer at my house, but I would not go out. Everybody I work with goes out every night. You know, you're on the road, you're partying. That wasn't me. I'd grocery shop Monday when I got there. I'd make my own meals. Sometimes I'd go have dinner with the guys, but then after that, I'd go home because I was committed. This is what I am committing to. And everyone's like, oh, you're a pussy. You need to go out and party. I'm like, you say what you want. I mean, when I go home, my relationship is solid because of this. And you guys are, wishing you had that. No macho guy is ever going to say, I want that, but they do want that.
Sure, of course.
And I'm not afraid to say I have that. And yeah, there's been a lot of times where it's not always easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it long term. It's like you're going to, when her and I first got together, I mean, there was times when these rules were like, I'd always tell her, you got to give me a chance to adjust. Like, this is the exact opposite of what my life has been until I met you. Yeah. Like, you have to give me a second here. And we used to always have those arguments. And that's when she'd say, like, she'd think we're going to break up, or I don't like fighting. I'm like, I don't like fighting either, but I still have to I need a little bit of an adjustment here. Now, I'm not saying I was going out and partying and doing that stuff. I'm just saying, the call me during the day thing all the time. Like, I'm like, hey, I'm working my ass off to provide for these kids, because when her and I first got together, I had nothing. Yeah. So when I took on 2 kids with nothing, it was now put up or shut up time. Like these kids had to eat, and now it wasn't just me anymore. So it was like, there's no more, squeaking by. Now I have to provide, and now it's not just me. Yeah. Now I got to feed her and 2 kids, where before it's just sometimes I was struggling to feed me. So it was like now, and a lot of that had a lot to do with, I knew my focus had to be working, taking care of my family, and that's what it's always been since that day forward. Like my whole thing is, you can even ask her, I work and I come home. I don't do anything else. And it's not because I could do other things. I just choose not to. Yeah. My focus is to give my kids the best of what I can give them and to give her the best life I can give her, because that's my commitment. But most people are very selfish. They want it. I need my guy time. Why? You're a fucking grown man. What do you need? What are you going to do? Go fucking jerk each other off in a corner? I mean, what do you mean you need guy time? Hang out with your guys and go home. I mean, we got to go to the bar till 2:00 in the morning to get your guy time. That's not guy time. That's I'm going to go fuck around time.
But it's also girls' time. The same thing. I mean, girls' night out.
Yeah.
Such bullcrap.
We know
trips. I mean, come on. I'm invited to a million girls' trips. I always go, no, sorry, I can't do that. I don't want to do that because it's not worth it.
And you've been around long. I mean, just like you said, you had a very crazy earlier life, and you already know what the end result is, all that, because it's been the most consistent thing. It's always some fuck up. It's always messing something up. It's great in the moment, and it's great, and it feels great in the moment, but it's always consistent.
You want me to tell you what's the biggest hang up for guys to commit is they think they're going to miss something.
Yep.
They feel like, if I don't go out tonight, I'm going to miss something. It's like, no, you're not. It's going to be exactly the same it was last Friday night and the Friday before that and the Saturday before that. You're going to go out, you're going to drink and look at some girls. You're too afraid.
Spend a bunch of money that you don't have.
You're going to see 10 girls you're afraid to talk to, and you're not going to talk to them that night either. And then you're going to go home and be like, fuck, that girl's hot.